Balarama Reddiar went back to the Aurobindo ashram. While there, he visited his village. Whenever he was back in his village, he would not stay in his house. Being a very austere man, he stayed in a small cottage on its grounds, continuing his practice and sustaining himself with whatever food was sent to him from his house. A year later, he came to Ramana ashram for the third time. This time, there were no rooms available. He had to stay with others in the common guest room, which is still there. One day, he had the strong desire to go to the top of the hill. Without consulting anyone, he started climbing up. After some time, he found himself in a very precarious position on a very steep rock face with no way up or down. There was nothing to hold on to. He prayed to Bhagavan and suddenly found himself grasping at a root. He used it to pull himself up and to his surprise found that he was on top of the hill. Bhagavan had saved him as soon as he thought of him. This strengthened his conviction that there is a divine power. The experience made him understand that Bhagavan was his master and his place was holy Arunachala. While sitting in the old hall in front of Bhagavan, he told himself, "This is Sarvesvara, Lord of the universe." Balarama Reddiar returned to Aurobindo ashram, determined to take leave of Sri Aurobindo. At Aurobindo ashram, the custom was for seekers to correspond daily with the master. Everyone had their doubts cleared by putting them in writing and depositing the slip of paper in a box. The next morning, Sri Aurobindo would have given the answer to the query. Balarama Reddiar wrote, "Master, you begin your teaching with self-realization. Ramana Maharshi dwells only in self-realization. Give me permission to go to Ramana ashram and attain self-realization." Quick came Sri Aurobindo's reply, "You can discover self-realization here. There is no need for you to go anywhere." This response disappointed Balarama Reddiar. He was not ready to give up because he was drawn irresistibly to the presence of Ramana Maharshi. He wrote again to Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo replied, warning him, "If you go away, whatever work we have done on you until now will all be undone, so we will not give you permission." Balarama Reddiar knew that he could not argue or quarrel with such a towering personality like Sri Aurobindo, but the divine power was such that he was compelled to write for the third time. He was determined to leave, whatever the reply. Such was his resolve to go to Sri Bhagavan's abode at Arunachala. The mother and Sri Aurobindo understood Balarama Reddiar's yearning and granted him permission, albeit with a lot of hesitation. The rule in Aurobindo ashram is that all correspondence from Sri Aurobindo and the mother to a seeker, once read, must be torn or burnt. Balarama Reddiar did this with all his letters, but kept with him the last letter of permission. There was a divine reason for this, as we shall see later. Balarama Reddiar came to Ramana ashram in 1937 on Ramana Maharshi's 57th birthday. It was a most auspicious occasion for this determined disciple and the guru to bond. Balarama Reddiar came with the intention of doing practice and dedicating and surrendering himself to the master. The ashram had no private rooms at that time, and Balarama Reddiar wanted privacy to pursue his practice. He was advised to take a room in town and come and meet Bhagavan every day. He would arrive at 3 in the morning, stay till 11, and then go back for lunch. He would again visit the ashram at 3 in the afternoon and stay on until 8 at night. Meeting Bhagavan every day was vital for him. As he said, the presence and proximity of the master is very important for the seeker. This arrangement made it easier for Balarama Reddiar to spend the time just looking at the Maharshi. The Maharshi guided him through words, gestures, acts of kindness, and the expression of love in silence. Although he had given up Sri Aurobindo and had come to embrace Bhagavan as his master, there was still this gnawing doubt, have I done the right thing? Sri Aurobindo's physical, intellectual, and psychic influence were so overpowering that he could not easily extricate himself. He felt that he had to get it clarified that Ramana Maharshi was his guru, and moving away from Sri Aurobindo had been the right decision. He intended to get the issue clarified by Bhagavan, but look at the master's consideration for the devotee. While reading the newspaper, Bhagavan happened to read a review of Sri Aurobindo's Light on Yoga. Someone seated in the hall said, "Balarama Reddiar has that book." Since the Maharshi had not read about Aurobindo's philosophy, he asked for the book and read it. Why? It was not for himself, but for the sake of his devotee who was soaked in Sri Aurobindo's philosophy. One day, when Balarama Reddiar was alone with Bhagavan, he sought the answers to two questions. Had he done the right thing by coming away, and is it possible to attain physical immortality like Sri Aurobindo was proclaiming? Whenever this topic of physical immortality was discussed, Balarama Reddiar would argue for its possibility with Chadwick, Cohen, and the others. However, he could never argue this topic with Bhagavan because he felt that the answers were coming straight from the heart. The lingering doubt about physical immortality remained until one day Bhagavan told him after reading the newspaper in the hall, "You know, in Kumbakonam, there was a C.V. Rao, a yogi. He professed the knowledge of an herbal elixir that would ensure physical immortality. He said he could help people attain physical immortality. Great personalities like Tilak and Annie Besant wanted to meet him, but C.V. Rao died at the age of 36. Bhagavan showed Balarama Reddiar the newspaper announcement and put his mind to rest on this issue.